Hello and welcome to Embrace the Deception. In this video, we're going to be looking at Gavin Newsom's apology video. For those of you who don't know, Gavin Newsom is the governor of California, and California has some pretty strict guidelines to help stop the spread of the COVID-19 virus. Recently, he was caught breaking his own rules, and this is his insincere apology video. At least I think it's insincere. If you agree with me, hit the thumbs up button. If you disagree, if you think that every bit of his apology was sincere and he really feels bad about breaking his own rules, then go ahead and hit the dislike button and let me know in the comments how wrong I am. But I'm just going to let this play, and normally I'd like to let the video play and then I go back and tell you what I'm seeing, but I want to keep this video relatively short, so I'm just going to point out what I'm seeing as I'm seeing it. But I think his apology is insincere, and I'm going to tell you why.
That a few weeks ago, I was asked to go to a friend's 50th birthday. My wife and I, a friend that I've known for almost 20 years, and a friend that had
There's a lot of excessive blinking
time
through
and
the whole
energy
thing.
into his 50th birthday. It was in Napa, which was in the orange status, relatively loose compared to some other counties. It was to be an outdoor restaurant, and we started the
So he's saying that the restrictions in this area were a little bit looser and it's supposed to be an outdoor restaurant. So he's already trying to minimize what he did. Like, I did something wrong, but it wasn't that bad. He's trying to minimize it already.
Well, the program started at 4 o'clock. It was one of those early reservations. I got there a little bit late at 4:30. And as soon as I sat down at the larger table, I realized it was a little larger group than I had anticipated. And I made a bad mistake. Instead of sitting down, I should have stood up and walked back, got in my car, and drove back to my house. Instead, I chose to sit there with my wife and a number of other couples that were outside the household. And you can quibble about.
So he said he made a bad mistake, and instead of sitting down, he should have stood up and left. And the whole time he's saying that, he's got a big smile on his face. So someone who said they made a mistake, if they actually feel bad about it, he's not showing any remorse. He's smiling throughout the entire thing. And then we actually see something right here.
You can quibble about the guidelines.
When he says you can quibble about the guidelines, we see contempt.
Outside the household.
Right there. As soon as he says outside the household.
That were outside the household.
Boom. That's contempt. And then it continues.
You can quibble about the guidelines.
As he talks about, you can quibble about the guidelines. He's showing contempt the whole time.
Et cetera, but the spirit of what I'm preaching all the time was contradicted, and I got to own that. And so I want to.
He said the spirit of what he's preaching all the time was contradicted, and I've got to own that. He's shaking his head. If you're saying, I've got to own that, that's congruent. If you're saying, I've got to own that, your head's saying, no, I don't.
Apologize to you.
So
contradicted, and I got to own that. And so I want to apologize to you because I need to preach and practice.
Again, there's some more head shaking.
Because I need to preach. And practice, not just preach and not practice. And I've done my best to do that.
There he goes again. I've done my best. He's saying he's done his best to practice what he preaches. And there's a little bit of a head shake and the hands come up. Like, I don't know. That's unsure of what you're saying. So kind of a shrug with the hands. It's not a shoulder shrug, but the hands come up and there's a little bit of head shaking. I practice what I preach. And his body is saying, no, I don't.
Preach and not practice. And I've done my best to do that. We're all human. We all fall short sometimes. We've been out, and I think for 3 times since, in fact, I know it's been 3 times because I remember all of those dinners very, very vividly since February, just 3 times. Twice with my wife, by myself, outdoors, and then this one occasion with a larger group. And there were just a few extra people there.
And there was just a few extra people there. There was more than just a few people. And he knows that. And so he's, and there's actually, there are photos of it.
Few extra people there.
Few extra people there shaking his head.
Than the spirit of what I am promoting. And so if we're going to minimize mixing, you got to own up to that. So I just want folks to know that. Paid for our dinner, and we had an early dinner, but didn't matter. I shouldn't have been there. I should have turned back around.
saying he paid for his dinner and it was an early dinner, that's all, it doesn't matter. He broke the rules. He's apologizing, but not really sincerely, in my opinion. Then he's adding a few more things that don't really apply at all, whether he paid for the dinner or not, or whether it was an early dinner. That doesn't matter.
And so when that happens, you pay the price, but you also own the mistake, and you don't ever make it again. And you have my word on that.
Well, the audio cut out and the video ends right there, but he says, "You have my word on that." He starts shaking his head again. So in a sincere apology, you would expect to see some concerned look, some remorse, but he has a smile on his face the entire time, and he shakes his head no while he's saying a few things that he's saying, "You have my word on that," and shaking his head. So this just comes off as super insincere to me, and I don't think you even need to have any training or, any kind of knowledge about body language to see it. With that grin on his face the entire time, it seems super insincere. But I wanted to make this video to point out a few other things that I saw: the contempt and the shrug and the shaking the head when you're saying something in the affirmative and you're shaking your head in the negative, when the words and the body language are incongruent. That's a pretty big sign of possible deception. It's not 100%, but it's a pretty reliable indicator. Anyway, again, if you agree with me that his apology was totally insincere, hit the like button. If you disagree, go ahead and hit the like button. Either way, let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you like these videos, go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.